Confidence is not about being the loudest person in the room. It has nothing to do with showing off, chasing approval, or proving your worth to anyone. Real confidence is quieter than that. It's calm. It's steady. It's the kind of presence that makes people pause without you asking them to. And there is a level beyond confidence that most people never reach. A state where nothing shakes you, nothing provokes you, and nothing controls you. Most people spend their lives reacting to criticism, to rejection, to chaos, to the opinions of others. Every reaction costs them energy. Every emotional impulse gives away a piece of their power. But when you learn how to react to nothing, something changes. You stop leaking energy. You stop being predictable. You become untouchable. You move through the world with a presence that is rare and quietly dangerous. A confidence that cannot be performed, copied, or faked. In this audiobook, presented by Audiobook Vision, we break down, step by step, how that level of confidence is built. You'll learn how to silence self-doubt, regulate your emotions, detach from outcomes, and carry yourself with the calm authority of someone who needs nothing and fears nothing. Each chapter delivers practical insights and timeless truths that don't just change how you see yourself, but how the world responds to you. This is not about pretending to be strong. It's about becoming unshakable. So take a deep breath, clear your mind, and prepare to step into the strongest, calmest version of yourself. Before we begin, take a moment. Then make sure you subscribe to Audiobook Vision. Like this audiobook so it reaches those who need it. Share it with someone who understands that real strength is silent. And most importantly, leave a comment. Not out of habit, but intention. Tell us what this idea means to you. Your perspective shapes what comes next. Now, let's begin. Chapter 1. Stop explaining yourself. One of the fastest ways people drain their confidence is by constantly explaining themselves. Think about it. How many times have you found yourself giving long, unnecessary explanations just so people wouldn't judge you? Maybe you were late, and instead of simply saying, "Thank you for waiting," you launched into a 5-minute speech about traffic, your alarm, or how your phone died. Your heart raced as you narrated every minor obstacle, searching their face for a sign of absolution. Or maybe someone questioned one of your decisions. Why you left that job, why you don't drink, why you said no to an invitation, and you felt a heat rise in your chest. A compulsion to justify every detail until they nodded in understanding. You offered up your private logic like a peace offering, hoping it would shield you from their silent criticism. Here's the truth. Confident people don't do that. They don't live in apology mode. They don't scramble to prove their worth to every passerby in the narrative of their life. Why? Why? Because they know their inherent value is not up for debate. It is a quiet fact. Not a loud negotiation. When you stop over-explaining, you instantly project strength. Your words, fewer and more deliberate, begin to carry more weight. Your presence, uncluttered by justifications, commands more respect. This isn't about becoming rude, secretive, or dismissive. Arrogance shouts. Confidence simply is. This is about the discernment to know when something is yours to own, not yours to defend. It's the difference between handing someone your carefully written manifesto and simply showing them the cover. Instead of dissecting every move to preempt judgment, you learn to stand calmly beside your choice. If someone asks why you're doing something, you don't default to a full essay brimming with footnotes. A simple, clear, and firm response is enough. It felt right. I've decided to go in a different direction. That's what works for me. Think about the sheer quiet power you feel when someone says, "I chose this because it aligns with my goals," and then stop speaking. No over-explaining, no backpedaling, no nervous laughter to soften the edges, just calm certainty. That silence isn't empty. It's filled with the substance of their self-trust. That is confidence in its purest form. Every time you append a lengthy explanation to a simple statement, you send a silent, subconscious message. I need your approval to feel okay about my own choices. My validity depends on your understanding. You hand over a piece of your sovereignty. But every time you state your position, make your choice, or set your boundary with clarity and then let it stand on its own, you send a far louder message. I've heard myself, I trust my own reasoning. I do not require your permission to exist as I am. Here's your challenge for the next week. Become a detective of your own speech. Catch yourself in the act. The moment you feel that familiar urge to pile on excuses, to embellish with details that aren't needed, to soften a no into a maybe because, stop, take a breath. Replace the impending paragraph with something simple, firm, and direct. I can't make it. I've decided to go this way. That doesn't work for me. My decision is final, and then be silent. Let the silence hang in the air. Let it carry the weight of your conviction. This will be your training ground. At first, it will feel uncomfortable, even terrifying. You'll feel a physical urge to fill the space, to justify, to make yourself more palatable. You'll imagine the other person's confusion or disapproval. But with practice, you'll discover something life-changing. The space you refuse to fill with your words becomes filled with your power. The less you explain, the stronger you begin to feel. People, sensing the shift, begin to take you more seriously. They engage with your decision rather than your debate. And most importantly, you begin to take yourself more seriously. You start to believe that your inner compass is reliable. Dangerous confidence, the kind that is unshakable and quietly formidable, begins with this small but profound shift. Stop explaining, stop over-justifying. Trust your choices enough to let them breathe on their own. Stand by your words as if they are the architecture of your life. Because the moment you no longer feel the need to explain your essence to everyone you meet, you've already taken your first most crucial step toward becoming untouchable. You are no longer a subject for review. You are the author of your own story. And authors don't explain the plot. They simply let it unfold. Chapter 2. Master your inner voice. If you want to become dangerously confident, you have to start with the voice that speaks to you the most, the one in your own head. That voice is either your greatest weapon or your biggest enemy. It's either building you up or tearing you down, brick by brick, in the privacy of your own mind. And here is what most people never realize. The conversation you are having with yourself in the quiet is the single most important conversation of your life. The way you speak to yourself in private doesn't stay private. It eventually leaks out, shaping your posture, your choices, and your presence. It shows up in how you show up in the world. Think about it. If your inner monologue is a constant, critical whisper, I'm not good enough. I always mess things up. They can probably tell I'm a fraud. Why would they listen to me? How do you think you'll act when you walk into a room? You'll move nervously, speak hesitantly, and make yourself small, physically confirming the story your mind is already telling. But if your inner voice is a steady, firm narrator, I can handle this. I've prepared. I belong here. My perspective has value. You walk into the very same room, taller, calmer, and sharper. You are the same person with the same skills, but with a different inner soundtrack. And that difference changes everything. Confidence doesn't start with applause, achievements, or external attention. Those are echoes. It starts in the silent theater of your mind. It starts with the words you allow to echo, to repeat, to take root inside your head. You cannot control what everyone says about you, but you have absolute sovereignty over what you repeat to yourself, day after day. The catastrophic mistake people make is waiting for life to validate them before they change that inner voice. They operate on a broken formula. Once I succeed, then I'll feel confident. Once people respect me, then I'll talk to myself with respect. But it works exclusively and powerfully the other way around. You don't wait for proof. You create the proof from the inside out. You start speaking to yourself like someone worthy of respect, of trust, of grace. And then, almost magnetically, your actions begin to align with that belief. Your world rearranges itself to match the narrative you've chosen to uphold. Here is the neurological secret. Your brain believes repetition. It treats repeated thoughts as instructions for reality. Say I'm weak long enough, and your brain will seek evidence, orchestrate failures, and guide your body language to fulfill that prophecy. You will literally shrink into the weakness you described. Say I'm capable, I'm resilient, I'm learning long enough, and your brain will begin to identify opportunities, bolster your courage, and unlock solutions to rise and meet those words. Your inner voice is the thermostat of your entire being. It sets the baseline temperature of your confidence. If it's set to doubt, you will always sink back down to that chill. No matter how much external success, that fleeting heat you temporarily feel. If it's set to assured, you will maintain your core warmth and rise above challenges because you fundamentally believe you operate at that higher temperature. So how do you master this inner voice? First, become a witness. Catch it in the act. For one day, just listen. Don't judge, just observe. Pay attention to the quiet, automatic lines you whisper to yourself. When you make a minor error, does the voice snarl, "I'm so stupid," or does it state a mistake? Let me correct. When you look in the mirror, does it launch into a critique of flaws? Or does it acknowledge, "This is the vessel that carries me. It is strong. It is here." When faced with a challenge, does it panic, "I can't handle this," or does it assess, "This is new. I will break it down"? These small, silent moments are the architecture of your destiny. Second, redirect with intent. The goal is not fake, plastered on positivity. Dangerous confidence is not about lying to yourself. It is about speaking to yourself with strategic strength, especially when things are imperfect. It is about choosing words that build a foundation, not words that plant landmines. Replace "I'm overwhelmed" with "I will prioritize one thing at a time." Replace "they think I'm incompetent" with "my worth is not determined by their momentary opinion." Replace "I always fail at this" with "my past attempts have taught me what doesn't work. I am closer to what does." When you start deliberately directing your inner voice, instead of letting it run wild like a malicious commentator, you will notice a profound shift. You will stop reacting so harshly to external challenges, criticism, and rejection. Why? Because your mind is no longer their amplifier. It is now your trained ally, your personal strategist, backing you up from within. Here is your 30-day challenge. Do not just read this. Do it. Every morning before you face the world, look in the mirror and tell yourself 3 things out loud. 1. I respect myself. 2. I can handle anything that comes today. 3. I do not need anyone's approval to move forward. It will feel awkward. You might feel silly. Your inner critic will scream that it's a lie. Say it anyway. Let the vibration of those true words hit your eardrums. Watch over the days as your body starts to carry their meaning. Your shoulders drop from a defensive hunch. Your gaze steadies. Your breath deepens. Watch how your energy changes in conversations. You listen more because you're less frantic to prove. Watch how you enter situations not as a plea for validation, but as a presence. Your inner voice is the foundation. Master it, and you won't just be acting confident. You will feel it in your bones, in your blood, in your breath. And once you feel it, once it is metabolized into your very being, no one can ever take it from you. Because here is the unshakable truth. Confidence is not what happens when others finally believe in you. Confidence is what happens when you have finally, decisively, and relentlessly chosen to believe in yourself. And that choice is made and remade 1,000 times a day. By the voice only you can hear, command it. Chapter 3. Build respect before confidence. Every kind of lasting, unshakable confidence starts with one simple, non-negotiable truth. You cannot feel powerful if you don't respect yourself first. Confidence without self-respect is a hollow performance. It's a mask you wear to convince others, while deep down you still feel like an imposter waiting to be exposed. It's loud, brittle, and dependent on external validation. But when you build a foundation of real, earned self-respect, confidence stops being an act. It becomes your character. It becomes who you are. Think about how you treat someone you genuinely respect. You listen to their opinions. You value their time and don't waste it. You trust their judgment and honor their boundaries. You speak to them with a baseline of dignity. Now, ask yourself with ruthless honesty, do you treat yourself with the same regard? Or do you, in the quiet moments, cut yourself down with a cruelty you'd never show a stranger? Do you ignore your own needs, break promises to yourself, and allow people to cross your lines because, deep down, you haven't convinced yourself that you're worthy of defense? This internal disrespect is the leak that drains every attempt at genuine confidence. The world operates like a mirror. The way you treat yourself sets the standard for how others are permitted to treat you. If you chronically disrespect your own time, showing up late for your own goals, canceling on yourself, others will learn to treat your time as cheap. If you speak to yourself with contempt, you will unconsciously tolerate dismissive or critical language from others. You will interpret it as what you deserve. But when you begin to show unwavering self-respect, when you hold yourself to a higher standard in your private choices, something shifts. People sense it. It's a quiet signal broadcast, not through words, but through action. They begin to respond to you differently, not because you demanded it, but because you demonstrated. And this is where dangerous confidence, the kind that is calm, magnetic, and untouchable, begins to take solid form. Crucially, self-respect does not come from the mountaintop achievements. It is forged in the small, daily choices that whisper to your psyche, I matter. It is the compound interest of integrity paid to yourself. Keeping a promise to yourself, whether it's going to the gym when you said you would, or turning off your phone by 10 p.m., is an act of respect. It tells your mind, my word to myself has value. Following through on a plan you made in private, finishing that course, saving that money, decluttering that room, is an act of respect. It builds the evidence that you can trust your own decision. Not settling for situations, conversations, or treatment that go against your values is a profound act of respect. It is you choosing your own dignity over the temporary comfort of fitting in or being liked. Each of these choices may seem insignificant from the outside. No one applauds you for eating the healthy meal you planned or for leaving the party that drained you. But inside, each act is a brick laid in the foundation of your self-trust. Together they create a deep, unshakable knowing. I am someone who keeps faith with myself. And once you trust yourself, confidence is no longer a thing to be manufactured. It flows naturally. It is the inevitable byproduct of knowing you will back yourself up. Here is the key shift. Stop asking the world to respect you. Start embodying that respect so completely that the world has no choice but to adjust. You no longer beg for recognition. You operate from it. You no longer scramble to explain or prove your worth. You are too busy living from it. You know it. And because you know it, others see it. It radiates from your composure. So if you want to build a confidence that lasts, that survives failure and transcends opinion, do not start with empty affirmations or fake pep talks. Start with the solemn, daily practice of respect. Start with the way you speak to yourself when you fail, with correction, not cruelty. Start with the way you carry your body, as if it houses someone of value. Start with the way you spend your solitary hours, honoring your growth, not numbing your potential. Start with the boundaries you hold, not as walls against the world, but as gates you consciously control, deciding what deserves access to your energy. Confidence without respect is a noisy echo. But respect, practiced with discipline every single day, will eventually overflow into a confidence so strong, so integrated, that it cannot be broken by circumstance or opinion. It becomes your home. And once you have built that, once you have become someone you genuinely respect, no one can ever take that foundation from you. You are no longer building confidence. You are living from it. Chapter 4. Kill the need for approval. One of the biggest, most insidious traps that steals your confidence is the quiet, constant need for approval. You know the feeling, that subtle itch in the back of your mind that whispers, do they like me? Do they agree? Am I good enough in their eyes? It's a low hum of anxiety that so many mistake for normal, but it controls lives from the shadows. It dictates choices, stifles voices, and shrinks dreams to a more acceptable size. People dress not for their own expression, but as armor against potential judgment. They post on social media, not from a place of genuine sharing, but as a digital plea for validation, tracking likes as a metric of their worth. They chase compliments, avoid healthy conflict, and feel personally annihilated when someone doesn't clap for them. Their mood becomes a hostage to external opinion. Here is the fundamental problem. When your confidence depends on approval, it will always be fragile. Because approval is currency that other people mint. It can be given generously and withdrawn without notice. One day the crowd cheers, the next they critique. If your self-worth rises and falls with their reactions, you become a puppet, jerked around by strings you did not weave but have willingly handed over. You live in a state of perpetual audition, forever trying to land a role that you, deep down, don't even want. The liberating, non-negotiable truth is this: no one in this world owes you their approval. And more importantly, no one's opinion should hold the power to define you. That power is yours alone to keep, to guard, and to wield. When you kill the need for approval, you enact a personal revolution. You free yourself from a prison you built with your own longing. You stop chasing the warm glow of applause and start walking by the cooler, steadier light of your own authenticity. You stop bending and contorting your life to fit the blurred, ever-changing expectations of others and start building a life that feels solid and true to you. That is the bedrock of dangerous confidence. Think of the people you admire most, the ones with real presence and impact. Are they the frantic crowd pleasers, the shapeshifters who mirror back whatever they think you want to see? Or are they the ones who stand firm in their conviction, respectful but unswayed, even when others disagree or disapprove? It is always the latter, because real strength is not found in being liked by all. It is forged in being respected for standing true. Likability is often a symptom of compromise. Respect is the reward for integrity. Let's be clear, there is nothing wrong with enjoying genuine praise or feeling seen. The problem arises not in the receiving, but in the needing. The moment you depend on external validation to feel valuable, you hand over your emotional remote control. You give others the power to dictate your channel. And let's be honest, people change channels fast. Their attention is fickle. Your self-worth cannot afford to be. So how do you kill this need? You starve it through practice. Start small, but start decisively. Practice saying no without appending a novel of explanation. A simple "that doesn't work for me" or "I won't be able to" is a complete sentence. Let the silence that follows be yours to own. Make a minor decision based solely on your own preference. Order the meal you truly want, not the one you think sounds impressive. Wear what feels authentically like you, not what fits a trend. These are rehearsals for bigger choices. Remind yourself daily, their approval is optional. My self-respect is not. Write it down, say it aloud. Make it your mantra. You will notice something powerful and initially uncomfortable when you stop chasing approval. Some people will bristle. They may label you arrogant, selfish, or difficult. They are reacting to the withdrawal of a supply they'd grown accustomed to. Your compliance. Stay steady. Because in time, a profound shift occurs. Those same people often begin to respect you more than they ever did when you were bending for their acceptance. Why? People may enjoy it when you seek their approval, but they cannot help but admire you when you clearly don't need it. Dangerous confidence is born in the moment you walk into a room and the silent question in your mind shifts from, "Will they like me?" to "Do I respect myself in how I show up here?" This is the critical pivot. It takes you out of the exhausting role of performer, constantly reading the audience, and installs you as the leader of your own life. The world has no shortage of people begging for likes, chasing applause, and waiting for permission. What commands attention? What commands respect is the person who moves forward with or without it. The person whose validation is sourced internally, making them immune to the volatile markets of public opinion. The day you kill the need for approval is the day you step into a new kind of freedom. You become ungovernable by trivial judgments. You stop reacting to every raised eyebrow and sideways comment. You start living, creating, and speaking on your own terms. That is when people truly begin to see you. Not because you asked for their gaze, but because they cannot look away from someone who stands solid and complete without needing a single thing from them. And that right there, that quiet, untouchable sovereignty, is the heart of dangerous confidence. Chapter 5. Respond with silence, not emotion. One of the greatest signs of confidence is not how loud you can be, but how quiet you can remain. Most people mistake strength for volume. They believe power lies in having the last word, in delivering the cleverest retort, in proving their point. But true, dangerous strength is often the opposite. It is the ability to stay calm, to stay silent, and to refuse to be pulled into every emotional skirmish that others invite you to join. Think about it. How often do people utterly surrender their power simply because they could not keep quiet? Someone criticizes them, and they snap back with a defensive rant. Someone disrespects them, and they explode with anger. Someone challenges their view, and they rush into a feverish, over-explained defense. In that moment, they believe they are showing strength, but they are actually revealing that their emotions are on a leash, held by the other person. And when your emotions control you, your power is gone. You become a reactor, not a director. Silence, on the other hand, is disarming. It is profoundly unsettling to those who thrive on conflict or drama. When people expect a heated reaction, anger, defensiveness, tears, and you offer them nothing but calm silence, you disrupt their entire script. They push and you don't move. They attack and you remain steady, your peace intact. This is what makes silence so powerful. It demonstrates that you are not easily shaken, that your center of gravity is within you, and that you cannot be manipulated by cheap tactics. Let's be unequivocally clear. This silence is not weakness. It is not passive acceptance or submission. It is active, strategic, and controlled. It means you consciously choose your responses, rather than surrender your reactions. It means you refuse to waste your precious energy, focus, and dignity on battles that are beneath you or designed to drain you. When you respond with silence instead of raw, unprocessed emotion, you accomplish several critical things. 1. You buy time to think. You create a buffer between the stimulus and your response, allowing your higher cognition, not your primal amygdala, to assess the situation. 2. You grant yourself the space to decide if the situation even deserves your attention. Not every criticism warrants a response. Not every provoker deserves an audience. 3. You shift the dynamic entirely. Imagine someone tries to provoke you in a meeting, lobbing a thinly veiled insult. The expected social script demands you either retaliate or shrivel. But if you simply meet their gaze, offer a calm, silent pause, and then smoothly return to the agenda, you have rewritten the script. The spotlight of awkwardness swings back onto them. They are left holding the emotional bomb they tried to pass you. Why? Because you have shown that their words did not penetrate. You have shown that you, not they, are in control of your inner state. There is another profound layer to this. Silence not only protects your power in the moment, it also invests your words with greater authority for when you do choose to speak. If you are a person of few, carefully chosen words, people learn to listen. They understand that you do not speak to hear your own voice. Your words carry weight because they are not diluted by a constant stream of noise, defensiveness, or emotional leakage. This is how leaders speak. This is how people who command respect carry themselves. So, how do you practice this? Start by becoming an observer of your own triggers. Pay attention to the physical sensations, the heat in your chest, the clench in your jaw, the rush of adrenaline, that signal your emotions are about to take the wheel. That moment is your point of power. That is the critical pause. When you feel it, 1. Stop. Do not let the next word leave your mouth. 2. Breathe. Take one slow, deliberate breath in through your nose. Let it out through your mouth. This simple act resets your nervous system. 3. Let the silence hold the space. Maintain calm eye contact if appropriate, or simply disengage. Allow the emptiness to speak for you. 9 times out of 10, you will realize you do not need to respond at all. The urge to fight, to correct, to defend will pass like a wave, leaving you standing solid on the shore. And on the rare occasion a response is necessary, it will now come from a place of measured strength, not reactive impulse. It will be a statement, not a plea or a counterattack. Remember, you do not owe everyone a reaction. You do not have to defend your character to every accuser, your choices to every critic, or your time to every intruder. You do not have to fight every battle you are invited to. Sometimes, the strongest, most declarative thing you can do is absolutely nothing at all. Silence is not empty. It is full of intention, strength, and unspoken authority. Consider how this transforms the way you are perceived. The person who reacts emotionally is predictable and easily controlled. Push the right button, get the expected explosion. But the person who can remain silent, calm, and unbothered, that person is dangerous in the most respectable sense. You cannot push them around. You cannot get under their skin. You cannot break their focus or derail their mission. Dangerous confidence is not found in shouting louder than the crowd. It is found in standing perfectly still while the crowd shouts around you. It is in choosing a peaceful silence when others are demanding an emotional storm. It is in demonstrating unequivocally that your emotions belong to you. They are not public property for others to trigger or collect. The next time someone tries to pull you into their drama, to bait you into conflict, or to shake your certainty, remember, silence is your shield. Silence is your strategy. Silence is your strength. Use it, master it, and you will discover just how truly unshakable you can become. Chapter 6. Let your body speak first. Before you ever form a word, your body has already delivered its opening statement. It is a silent, continuous broadcast about your state of mind, your level of authority, and your sense of belonging. People unconsciously read your walk, your stance, your gestures, and your gaze. In mere seconds, they have drawn a conclusion about your confidence, long before you've uttered a single syllable. This is the non-negotiable pre-verbal language of power, and it is infinitely louder than anything you might later say. Here is the foundational truth. If your words and your body language are in conflict, people will always believe your body. You can recite, "I am confident and capable." But if your shoulders are curled inward, your eyes scan the floor, and your hands betray a nervous tremor, your proclamation is hollow. No one will buy. Conversely, you can enter a space and say almost nothing. But if your posture is grounded, your movements are deliberate, and your eye contact is steady, people will feel your authority. Your presence will precede you. So what does it mean to let your body speak first? It means you consciously design the silent narrative. You walk into a room as if you have a right to be there. Not arrogantly, but with the unapologetic ease of ownership. Your pace is measured, not rushed. You are entering, not invading. You stand with anatomical integrity. Shoulders retracted and relaxed. Chest open, a physiologic signal of fearlessness. Spine elongated, head held level. This is not a militaristic pose. It is quiet certainty given physical form. Your gestures are controlled and purposeful. A firm, unhurried handshake. Hands that rest calmly, not fidgeting or forming defensive barriers across your torso. Movement that originates from a place of calm energy. You master the art of the gaze. You make eye contact that is direct yet soft, holding it comfortably without challenge or apology. You do not flinch away as if being seen is a threat. You understand that to look someone in the eyes to claim your own visibility. Think of the individuals you instinctively respect upon their entrance. They do not announce their importance, they embody it. Their very posture communicates a history of self-respect and command. This is no accident. It is the cultivated mastery of non-verbal communication. Critically, this relationship between body and mind is a two-way street, a continuous feedback loop called biofeedback. If you physically make yourself small, slouching, crossing limbs, shrinking your footprint, your mind receives the signal we are in a subordinate or threatened position. Your neurochemistry follows suit, flooding your system with stress signals that generate feelings of anxiety and inadequacy. But if you adopt a physiology of strength, sitting or standing tall, occupying space, moving with intention, your brain receives the opposite signal. We are in a position of security and capability. This triggers a cascade of neurochemicals associated with control and well-being. In short, your body trains your mind. Often the fastest way to feel confident is to first act the part with your physical being. This is not about inauthenticity or faking it. It is the reverse. It is about removing the physical habits that sabotage your true presence. It is about editing out the unconscious tells of insecurity, the hunched shoulders that whisper burdened, the bouncing knee that signals anxious, the averted eyes that murmur unworthy. These micro-behaviors broadcast a message you would never consciously choose to send. Here is how you begin to train your silent orchestra. 1. The power pause. Before crossing any threshold, a meeting room, a party, a stage, pause. Take one full deep breath. As you exhale, gently straighten your spine, roll your shoulders back and down, and lift your chin to a neutral position. Then enter. This 2-second ritual resets your physiology and intention. 2. Practice grounded stance. When standing, place your feet shoulder-width apart, feeling your weight evenly distributed. This is a rooted stance that conveys stability and cannot be easily knocked off center, physically or psychologically. 3. Master the quiet eye. In conversations, practice holding eye contact for the full duration of the other person's thought. Allow your gaze to be relaxed, not intense. Train yourself not to be the first to look away out of discomfort. This single practice projects immense calm and focus. 4. Own your space, whether seated or standing. Avoid making your physical footprint smaller. Do not tuck your feet under your chair. Hug your elbows to your sides, or shrink into furniture. Allow your body to rest in a naturally open, composed position. When your body consistently speaks the language of confidence, you cease needing to oversell yourself verbally. You no longer clamor for attention. You attract it by default. People sense your composure and respond to it instinctively. They grant you more respect, listen more attentively, and attribute greater authority to your words. Dangerous confidence is not about being the loudest voice in the room. It is about entering the room with such composed, silent certainty that you recalibrate the atmosphere around you. Your body tells the definitive first chapter of your story, so let it speak well. Train it. Walk tall, sit steady, meet the world eye to eye, move with purpose. Because when your physical form communicates unwavering strength, your words only need to confirm what everyone already perceives, that you are someone to be reckoned with. Chapter 7. Stop reacting, start leading. Most people live their entire lives in reaction mode. Their internal state is a pendulum, swinging wildly based on the latest push from the external world. Something happens and they respond. Someone criticizes them and they leap to defend. Someone disrespects them and they fire back. Someone offers praise and their sense of worth temporarily soars. They are perpetual respondents, living at the mercy of circumstance, their moods and actions dictated by whatever or whomever comes their way. This is not confidence. It is dependency. It is dependency. And as long as you are reacting, you have surrendered the lead. Consider this: the person who reacts is always one step behind, forever playing catch-up. They are letting the world write their script, moment by moment. But the person who leads, they write the script. They set the tone, dictate the pace, and define the direction. They do not wait to see what happens before they decide how to feel or act. They move first with intention and create what happens. This is the monumental difference between living as a follower of circumstance and living as the author, the leader of your own life. Here is the hard, liberating truth. When you react predictably to everything, you teach people how to control you. You become a puppet whose strings are visible. Others learn which buttons to push. What words will trigger your anger? What silences will feed your insecurity? What criticisms will send you into a spiral of justification? Your reactions are a blueprint for your own manipulation. But when you stop reacting, when you meet provocation with calm, chaos with clarity, and pressure with steady poise, those same people lose their grip. Their tactics fail. You become emotionally and psychologically untouchable. This is where confidence evolves into something truly dangerous. It becomes a form of quiet, unassailable sovereignty. Leading does not always mean leading others. It begins fundamentally with leading yourself. It means choosing your actions instead of having them chosen for you by external triggers. Setting your own pace instead of frantically trying to match someone else's rhythm. Asking, what do I want to create here? Instead of how should I respond to what just happened? Let's make this practical. Imagine you're in a meeting and your idea is challenged. The reactive person immediately flinches. Their ego is hooked. They interrupt, defend with rising emotion, and make it personal. The leader pauses. They listen fully, unflustered. They might respond with, "That's a perspective. Let's examine the data." Or simply redirect with, "The core objective here is X. How does this feedback serve that?" By refusing to react defensively, they keep ownership of the room's focus and their own emotional state. Consider relationships. In reaction mode, you become an emotional echo. You mirror the other person's moods. Their anxiety becomes yours. Their irritation becomes your provocation. But when you lead, you establish the emotional climate. You remain steady, grounded, and respectful regardless of their storms. Often, they will unconsciously begin to sync with your calm, rather than you being dragged into their chaos. Leadership in this context is not about controlling others. It is about controlling yourself so completely that you positively influence everything around you. People are naturally drawn to and will follow those who are steady, clear, and not tossed about by every minor wave. You do not need a title or authority to be this person. You only need the discipline of self-command. So how do you make the shift from reacting to leading? 1. Insert the pause. When you feel the familiar surge, the heat of anger, the cold clutch of anxiety, the itch to defend, do not give it the wheel. Stop, breathe. Create a space between the stimulus and your response. In that space, ask the defining question. What outcome do I want to create? This 1-second discipline moves you from being a passenger to being the navigator. 2. Set intentions, not expectations. Before you enter a potentially charged situation, a difficult conversation, a high-stakes event, set a clear intention for your own conduct. My intention is to remain calm and listen. My intention is to speak with clarity and not take things personally. You are programming your leadership in advance, so you don't default to reaction in the moment. 3. Focus on the field, not the ball. Reactive people chase the ball, the latest comment, the perceived slight, the immediate drama. Leaders keep their eyes on the whole field, the long-term goal, the overall atmosphere, the bigger picture. Ask yourself, will reacting to this serve my larger purpose? If not, let it pass. 4. Own your atmosphere. Your energy is contagious. Decide what you want to broadcast. Panic or peace, distraction or focus, insecurity or grounded assurance. By consciously cultivating your own atmosphere, you stop importing chaos from others and start exporting calm. Remember, leading is not about proving yourself. It is about owning yourself. You don't need to win every argument or control every variable. You only need to command your own focus, your own emotions, and your own next move. This calm-centered control is magnetic. People can feel it. They begin to look to you for cues, without you ever demanding their followership. Dangerous confidence is forged the moment you stop giving the world the remote control to your inner state. When you cease reacting to every stimulus and begin leading with deliberate intention, you rise above the noise. You stop playing perpetual defense and start directing the game. And once this shift is made, you are no longer at the mercy of life. Life, in all its chaotic beauty, begins to move at the mercy of your calm, your clarity, and your unwavering lead. Chapter 8. Embrace discomfort until it feels normal. Confidence is not constructed in the harbor of comfort. It is forged in the open seas of unease, in the very places, situations, and silences that most people actively flee. Reflect on your own journey. The moments that truly shaped you were never the easy, seamless ones. They were the moments where your heart pounded, your palms dampened, and a voice inside whispered, "Turn back." But you didn't. You stepped forward anyway. That precise step, the one taken through fear, not in its absence, is where growth resides. It is the birthplace of dangerous confidence. Most people organize their lives around the avoidance of discomfort. They choose the safe route, the familiar crowd, the manageable task. The logic seems sound. Why invite strain? But the consequence of this philosophy is a slow, quiet atrophy. If you perpetually choose comfort, you never expand. You remain within the confines of a self-built cell, playing a predictable small game, and deep down you know it. You know it. This is why many who live safe lives harbor a secret insecurity. Their biography lacks proof of their own resilience. Confidence is not a mantra you recite. It is a body of evidence you accumulate through lived experience. When you consciously embrace discomfort, you become an archaeologist of your own strength. Every time you volunteer for the challenging project, initiate the difficult conversation, or step onto the unfamiliar stage, you unearth a new artifact of proof. I survived. I learned. I am more capable than I thought. You are building an internal portfolio of resilience. The more evidence you gather, the less shaky your foundation becomes. Here is the critical secret. Discomfort does not disappear. There is no mythical plateau of permanent ease. Life's tests do not cease. But you can, and must, train your nervous system to find a new baseline. You learn to get comfortable being uncomfortable. This is the paradigm shift. You stop interpreting discomfort as a signal of danger and start recognizing it as a signal of training. You cease running and begin leaning in, and through repetition, what once triggered panic becomes routine, even familiar. Consider any skill you now possess. The first time you attempted it, there was likely clumsiness, doubt, and self-consciousness. But you repeated the action. Through repetition, you performed a neural rewrite. Pathways of fear were overlaid with pathways of familiarity. The impossible became manageable. This is the physiological power of embracing discomfort. You are literally rewiring your brain from a reactor to a navigator. So, how do you begin this deliberate training? 1. Start with micro-resistance. Identify the edges of your current comfort zone and take one small step beyond them. If you typically stay silent in meetings, commit to voicing one clear opinion. If you avoid conflict, practice stating a minor boundary. If you cling to routine, alter one small habit. These are not grand gestures, but they are repetitions, like lifting mental weights. 2. Reframe the sensation. When you feel the familiar clutch of anxiety, the quickened pulse before speaking, the tension of saying no, do not label it as bad. Rename it. Call it the feeling of growth. Tell yourself, this sensation is not a warning, it is the signal that I am expanding. My comfort zone is stretching right now. This cognitive shift disarms fear's primary weapon. 3. Seek voluntary challenges. Do not wait for life to force discomfort upon you. Proactively seek it. Enroll in the class that intimidates you. Apply for the role that seems a stretch. Initiate the conversation you've been avoiding. By choosing the challenge, you retain your power. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are a student in your own academy of strength. 4. Adopt the athlete's mindset. In physical training, muscle breaks down under stress to rebuild strong. The tremor in your muscles is not a sign to stop. It's a sign of transformation. Apply this to your mental and emotional life. The shake in your voice, the uncertainty in your gut, these are not signs of weakness. They are signs that you are engaging a new weight, building a new strength. Growth occurs at the point of resistance. A beautiful transformation occurs the more you practice this. Your relationship with failure changes. It ceases to be a specter to be avoided and becomes data to be analyzed. You stop doubting your capacity to endure because you have a library of evidence that you have endured. This is the bedrock of unshakable confidence, not blind positivity, but the proven knowledge of your own resilience. So the next time discomfort knocks, do not hide behind the door. Open it, invite it in, say, "I recognize you. You are the raw material of my becoming." Dangerous confidence is not the prize for an easy life. It is the trophy earned by a life of conscious, voluntary difficulty. It is built by those who choose to live in the stretch zone until it becomes their new home. Embrace discomfort. Seek it systematically. Live in its productive tension until the feeling of growth becomes your new normal. Because once you do, you will stand different in the world. You will have trained yourself to thrive precisely where others retreat. And people will notice that quiet, steady power in you, the kind of confidence that cannot be broken, because it was forged in the very fire others spent their lives fleeing. Chapter 9. Speak less, command more. Have you ever observed how the most influential person in a room is often the quietest? They do not rush to fill every silence with sound. They do not attempt to dominate the conversation with a torrent of words. Instead, they practice a disciplined restraint. They observe, they listen with full presence, and when they finally choose to speak, the room tilts toward them. This is not a coincidence. It is the anatomy of true confidence. Most people overtalk because they are uneasy with silence. They fear that if they are not constantly contributing, they will fade into the background, unnoticed, unvalued, forgotten. So they layer words upon words, explanations atop stories, drowning their own message in a sea of verbal clutter, hoping to convince others of their worth. But here is the counterintuitive truth. The more you speak without purpose, the more you dilute your power. Confidence is not measured by your word count, but by the specific gravity of each word you utter. The path to making your words land with impact is straightforward yet demanding. Speak less, mean more. Every sentence should be delivered with intention. Every response should be underpinned by calmness. Every deliberate pause should signal that you are not rushed, not desperate, not seeking validation through verbal volume. Consider this dynamic. A person who speaks incessantly becomes background noise. People's attention drifts. They listen passively, if at all. But a person who practices strategic silence, who speaks only when they can add genuine substance, commands active attention. Silence builds anticipation. Precision builds authority. This is why true leaders are rarely chatterboxes. They do not expend energy trying to be heard. They conserve energy so that when they speak, they are impossible to ignore. Their words are wielded like a surgeon's scalpel, precise, clean, and effective. They understand that verbal economy is a superpower. How do you cultivate this discipline? 1. Master the pause. When asked a question, resist the reflexive urge to answer immediately. Allow a beat of silence, 2, even 3 seconds. This pause accomplishes multiple things. It signals thoughtfulness. It calms your own nervous system, and it draws your listener closer, priming them for what you will say. The pause itself is a statement of composure. 2. Practice radical editing. Trim the fat from your speech. Replace rambling explanations with concise, crystalline statements. Instead of, "Well, I was thinking maybe we could possibly try this approach, but I'm not totally sure. What do you think?" Use, "I recommend we try X. Here's why. Favor yes, no, I'll do it. That doesn't align." Short, clear, and firm sentences are monuments of confidence. 3. Listen to understand, not to reply. This is the cornerstone. Most people listen only as a pause while they formulate their own next point. Confident people listen to absorb, to comprehend, and to see the underlying map of the other person's perspective. This kind of listening is an active, quiet power. It gathers intelligence about needs, fears, and unspoken motives, so that when you do speak, your words are not just a response, but a solution, a bridge, or a revelation. This makes you irreplaceable. 4. Let silence be your canvas. Do not fear quiet moments in dialogue, use them. A calm, held silence after someone speaks often draws out more from them, revealing their true position. A silence after you speak lets your point resonate, granting it weight. In negotiation, in conflict, in leadership, silence is not emptiness, it is strategic space you control. 5. Embrace the half-word challenge. For the next week, consciously aim to use half the words you normally would. When tempted to over-explain, stop at the core point. When the urge arises to fill a lull with nervous chatter, breathe through. You will discover that most of what you cut was never necessary. There is a profound shift that occurs when you adopt this practice. Externally, people begin to lean in. They anticipate your contributions. They assign greater value to your opinions because you have trained them that your words are never careless. You become a person of your word because you use fewer of them. Internally, you reclaim a deep sense of agency. You are no longer speaking from a place of insecurity, to fill a void, to prove your worth, to placate anxiety. You are speaking from a place of choice. This transforms your self-perception. You become someone who commands attention rather than someone who begs for it. Dangerous confidence does not shout. It does not ramble or plead. It understands that influence is often inverted to volume. It speaks less, but with such clarity, purpose, and timing that it commands more respect, more attention, more impact. Master this, and you will possess one of the most potent tools imaginable, the eloquent, powerful marriage of silence and speech wielded with intention. Chapter 10. Turn rejection into power. Rejection. Just the word can tighten the chest, flood the mind with heat, and trigger a primal urge to retreat. No one enjoys hearing no. No one smiles while being turned down, overlooked, or dismissed. It scrapes against our deepest need for belonging and validation. But here is the paradigm-shifting truth. Rejection is not the antithesis of confidence, it is the raw material for its most durable form. It is one of the most potent, if painful, tools for building an unshakable sense of self. If you learn to wield it rather than be wounded by it, the chasm between those who crumble under rejection and those who crystallize from it is not a matter of luck or innate toughness. It is a matter of perspective, a conscious choice in interpretation. Most people instinctively take rejection personally. They hear no and their internal narrator translates it. I am not good enough. I am unworthy. They attach the outcome directly to their identity, grafting someone else's no onto their own sense of worth. This is the critical error. It conflates an external event with internal value. But what if you saw rejection for what it more often truly is? Data, not destiny. Feedback, not finality. Redirection, not repudiation. It is a moment designed, often by forces beyond your control, not to make you smaller, but to force you to become sharper, wiser, and more strategic. Consider the evidence written in the biographies of impact. Legendary authors faced shelves of rejection letters. Visionary entrepreneurs were met with laughter and skepticism. Iconic artists were dismissed by critics. World-changing inventors were told impossible. The rejection did not destroy them. It defined them. It became the friction that ignited their resolve, the resistance that strengthened their foundational belief. It was the necessary pressure that turned coal into diamond. Rejection, therefore, is not the end of your path. It is the sharpening stone for your confidence. Every no you encounter is an invitation to hone your edge, to grow more resilient, more creative, and more dangerous in your quiet certainty. Here is the essential shift you must engineer. Stop asking why me. Start investigating. What is this here to teach me? Extract the lesson with detached curiosity. Did this reveal a genuine weakness in my approach that I can now fortify? Did it expose a misalignment with an audience, a client, or a path that was never meant for me, thus saving me years of wasted effort? Did it force me to articulate my value more clearly, to refine my craft, or to seek a better fit? Did it simply test my commitment, asking, how badly do you want this? Every rejection carries embedded intelligence, but you must be willing to listen past the sting of your pride. And let's name that sting honestly. It hurts because it touches the vulnerable junction of hope and effort. It feels like exposure. But that discomfort is precisely what makes it transformative. It wakes you from complacency. It reminds you that you are alive, striving, and in the arena. You cannot forge a confidence that withstands real-world storms in a climate of perpetual approval. That breeds a fragile, ornamental confidence, beautiful until the first strong wind. Dangerous confidence is tempered in the cold fire of no. It is the confidence that comes from being rejected, feeling the full weight of the disappointment, and choosing to stand taller nonetheless. So how do you operationalize this? How do you turn rejection into power? 1. Normalize and expect it. Reframe rejection as a sign of ambition. If you are never hearing no, you are not aiming high enough, putting enough of your true self on the line, or venturing beyond well-trodden paths. Welcome rejection as a certificate of effort. You are playing a meaningful game. 2. Ruthlessly detach your worth. This is the master skill. A no is a response to a specific proposal, action, or moment in time. It is not a verdict on your soul or your potential. Practice the mantra. They rejected the thing. They do not know the person. Your worth is a non-negotiable constant, entirely separate from any single outcome. 3. Use it as kinetic fuel. Let the energy of the rejection, the frustration, the pride, the defiance, propel you forward. Channel it into refined preparation, deeper research, or more persistent action. The goal is not to prove the rejecter wrong, but to prove to yourself that your resolve is greater than any single setback. Treat each no as a repetition in your mental and emotional strength training. 4. Adopt the navigator's mindset. Every no is not a dead end, it is a course correction. It closes one door so you can stop leaning on it and turn to find the one that is actually meant to open. It clears your path of distractions and ill-fitting opportunities, creating space for alignment. Every rejection is steering you, with sometimes brutal efficiency, toward your true north. Dangerous confidence is not built in a sanctuary of universal acceptance. It is built on the battlefield of repeated no's, faced with unblinking eyes and a steadfast heart, until the word itself loses its power to halt you. So the next time you face rejection, feel the sting. Acknowledge it. Then straighten your posture. Let a new, quieter voice rise within. Good. This is the material I work with. This is the proof I am reaching. This is how I become unstoppable. And then keep moving. Because the person who has made rejection their ally, their teacher, and their fuel is no longer just confident. They are powerful. And that person is being built, decision by decision, rejection by rejection. Right now, it is you. Chapter 11. Detach from outcomes. One of the most profound and liberating moves you will ever make is learning to release your grip on the outcome. Most people chain their sense of worth, their emotional equilibrium, and their identity directly to results. If they succeed, they are worthy. If they fail, they are not. Their inner world becomes a roller coaster, soaring with approval and plunging with setback, because they are attached to a future they cannot control. But real confidence, the dangerous, unshakable kind, emerges when you learn to detach from outcomes and anchor yourself instead in who you are and how you act, regardless of what happens. This is the difference between building your house on the solid ground of your character or on the shifting sands of external results. Consider your own life. How often have you hesitated, diluted your effort, or refused to begin because you were paralyzed by the fear of a specific outcome? You didn't share the idea because it might be rejected. You didn't set the boundary because it might cause conflict. You didn't commit fully because you might not win. This is attachment. It keeps you in a cage of your own making, the lock held by a hypothetical future. When you detach, you change the entire game. You no longer obsess over whether people will applaud, agree, or reward you. You focus on giving your most sincere, disciplined effort, and then you release the result. You understand that your control ends with your own action. This release is not resignation. It is strategic freedom. It unlocks a confidence most never feel because theirs is perpetually hostage to circumstance. Detachment is not apathy. It is not about ceasing to care or giving less than your best. It is the opposite. It is about caring so deeply about your own integrity and growth that you refuse to let an external result define you. It is the conscious choice to invest fully in the process, the effort, the learning, the courage, the discipline, while surrendering the product to the complex web of factors beyond your command. The outcome becomes feedback, not a verdict on your soul. Think of the master gardener. She cannot control the storm, the unseasonable frost, or the pests. But she can control the quality of the soil, the consistency of her care, and the wisdom of her planting. She does her part with devotion, then respects the autonomy of life itself. Her worth as a gardener is not shattered by a bad season. It is demonstrated by her faithful, knowledgeable effort. When you detach from outcomes, you achieve a form of emotional and psychological sovereignty. You become incredibly difficult to manipulate. People can no longer use the promise of a specific reward to control you, nor the threat of a particular loss to instill fear. You are free because you have decided in advance that your value is inherent, not contingent on winning, losing, gaining, or being chosen. Here is the powerful paradox. The tighter you cling to a specific outcome, the more powerless and anxious you become. Your need for a particular result broadcasts insecurity. But the moment you genuinely let go, the moment you internalize, "I will give my all, and I will be fine regardless of the result," you access a reservoir of calm strength. Your actions flow from focus, not from fear. And ironically, this state of composed detachment is precisely where peak performance and genuine magnetism reside. How do you cultivate this disciplined detachment? 1. Reframe your language. Your words shape your beliefs. Replace outcome-dependent declarations with process-focused ones. Instead of, "I have to get this promotion," say, "I will demonstrate the skills and leadership worthy of growth and trust the right path will unfold." Instead of, "They have to like my presentation," say, "I will deliver my message with clarity and conviction. How it's received is information for my next step." 2. Fall in love with the process. Confidence must be built on what you can control. Invest your identity in your daily habits, your standards of preparation, and your commitment to showing up authentically. If you are a writer, fall in love with the ritual of writing, not just the book deal. If you are building a business, fall in love with solving problems and serving people, not just the exit strategy. Process confidence is bulletproof. 3. Practice the already enough meditation. Regularly remind yourself, your worth is not awaiting validation from a future event. You are already complete. Success may add experiences, but it does not add to your fundamental worth. Failure may bring lessons, but it does not subtract from your dignity. Sit with the feeling of being inherently enough right now without any external proof. 4. Embrace the survivor's proof. Look at your own history. You have survived every bad outcome, every disappointment, every failure to date. Each one left you with lessons, resilience, and a clearer understanding of your own strength. This is concrete evidence that you can handle undesired outcomes. You don't need guaranteed success to be okay. You need the self-trust that comes from knowing you can navigate whatever comes. Dangerous confidence does not come from controlling life's variables. It comes from mastering your own energy and trusting in your ability to meet any outcome with adaptability, learning, and forward motion. So, stop gripping. Give your absolute best, your most focused effort, your most honest communication, your most courageous action. Then, with a quiet mind and an open hand, release the outcome to the universe. Because the moment you detach, you claim the ultimate power, the freedom to act without fear and to remain unbroken, regardless of the result. This is the confidence that cannot be shaken, for it is built on the unassailable ground of your own being. Chapter 12. Set boundaries without apology. Confidence is not only measured by how you carry yourself in the spotlight, but by how you protect yourself in the quiet. One of the most unambiguous signs of true, dangerous confidence is the ability to set boundaries, clear, non-negotiable lines, and to hold them without apology, without guilt, and without flinching. Boundaries are not walls built from fear or arrogance. They are the intelligent fences you construct around your time, your energy, your focus, and your self-respect. They are the definitive statement of what you will and will not allow into the sacred space of your life. And if you do not set them, the world will not hesitate to treat your life as public domain, trampling your peace and depleting your spirit. Here is the uncompromising reality. People will treat you exactly as you allow them to. Human nature intuitively tests limits. If you offer unlimited access, it will be consumed. If you tolerate disrespect, it will become the norm. If you never say no, your yes becomes meaningless. This is not necessarily because people are malicious, but because a vacuum of boundaries invites occupation. Without them, you will inevitably feel drained, resentful, and powerless, a spectator in your own life. True confidence springs from a deep internal knowing of your worth. And when you know your value, you become its guardian. You no longer gift your precious time to trivial demands. You no longer permit toxic dynamics to siphon your emotional reserves. You no longer betray your own intuition by saying yes when your entire being whispers no. Saying no is not selfish. It is an act of profound self-respect and strength. It is the practical proof that you value your own peace enough to defend it. Reflect on the times you have said yes, merely to avoid conflict or to secure approval. Agreeing to burdensome tasks, tolerating demeaning comments, or sacrificing your needs to maintain a fragile harmony. Each of these silent surrenders eroded your confidence, not because of the other person's ask, but because of your own allowance. Confidence is built brick by brick each time you decide. This is where I draw the line. And here is the crucial key. You do not owe anyone a justification for your boundaries. Too often people weaken their stance by over-explaining, as if their right to peace requires a lawyer's defense. I'm so sorry I can't because, followed by a litany of reasons, only invites debate and implies your boundary is negotiable. Instead, practice statements that are short, clear, and delivered with calm finality. No, that doesn't work for me. I'm not available for that. I won't be able to take that on. I don't accept being spoken to that way. These are complete sentences. They require no garnish. The strength lies in their simplicity and the composed silence that follows. Initially, setting boundaries will feel uncomfortable. You may feel a wave of guilt, fearing you are being unkind or rigid. You will worry about perception. But with consistency, you will discover a transformative truth. People ultimately respect you more when you have boundaries. They may not delight in your no in the moment, but they will come to see you as someone who is clear, decisive, and not easily manipulated. They learn you are not desperate for approval, and that your peace is not for sale. Consider this your filter. The right people, those who genuinely value and respect you, will honor your boundaries. They will adjust and their esteem for you will grow. The wrong people, those who benefited from your lack of limits, will protest, guilt trip, or withdraw. View their negative reaction not as a sign you are wrong, but as a clear confirmation that your boundary was desperately needed. Setting boundaries is not about pushing people away. It is about protecting your sacred inner space so you can show up fully for what truly matters. You cannot pour into your highest priorities, your deepest relationships, or your most meaningful work if you are perpetually emptied by everything else. Boundaries are not a luxury. They are the essential infrastructure of a focused and powerful life. So, how do you begin? 1. Identify the resentment. Resentment is a flashing indicator that a boundary has been violated. Scan your life. Where do you feel used, drained, or quietly bitter? Is it a colleague who consistently demands last-minute help? A family member who dismisses your time? Your own habit of answering work emails at midnight? That point of tension is your starting line. 2. Define the line. Get specific. What exact behavior will you no longer accept? What are you now saying no to? For example, I am no longer available for calls after 7 p.m. I will not discuss this topic when voices are raised. I cannot take on tasks without prior discussion. 3. Communicate with calm clarity. State your boundaries simply, directly, and early. Do not wait until you are exploding with frustration. A preemptive, calm statement is far more powerful than an emotional reaction. You are not asking for permission. You are informing them of a new reality. 4. Hold the line with steady composure. This is where confidence is tested and forged. When pushed, repeat your boundary calmly. Do not justify, argue, defend, or explain, JADE. You may simply say, as I mentioned, that doesn't work for me. Your consistency teaches others how to treat you. Confidence is not about pleasing everyone. It is about living in integrity with yourself. And integrity demands that you protect what matters, even when others don't understand or approve. Dangerous confidence is embodied in the steady hand that says no without a tremor. It is the unwavering stance that holds ground without guilt. It is the profound understanding that your energy is your most vital resource, and you are its sole, fiercely protective guardian. So, set your boundaries, hold them firm, and never ever apologize for respecting yourself. Because ultimate confidence blossoms not just from what you gracefully accept, but from the quiet, formidable power of what you consciously and unapologetically refuse. Chapter 13. Stand calm in chaos. Confidence is not truly tested in moments of ease. Anyone can appear composed when the waters are calm, the path is clear, and the world agrees with them. The real measure of confidence, the dangerous, unshakable kind, is revealed when chaos strikes. When plans shatter, when tensions escalate, when uncertainty floods the room and panic becomes the ambient temperature, this is the forge. In this heat, ordinary composure evaporates, and what remains is either brittle fear or tempered steel. Most people unravel in chaos. Their thinking fragments, their pulse races, and their actions become reactive and frantic. They mirror the disorder around them, adding to the noise, scrambling for instant solutions, and often making the situation worse. They operate from a place of survival, not strategy. Their confidence, if it was built on quiet circumstances, collapses under the weight of the storm. But a rare few do the opposite. They become an oasis of calm in the desert of disorder. They are the ones who slow down when everyone else speeds up, breathe when others hold their breath, and speak with steadiness when the room fills with shouts. This calm is not passive. It is a profoundly active and authoritative force. It commands attention without demanding it. People instinctively gravitate toward this stillness because it offers the very thing chaos steals, a sense of safety and possibility. This ability is not a mystical trait possessed by a fortunate few. It is a trainable discipline. It begins with a fundamental reframe. Chaos itself does not break you. Your reaction to chaos does. The external event may be turbulent, but your internal response is your domain to command. When you allow the storm outside to become the storm inside, you are lost. But when you anchor yourself in an inner calm, you become the eye of the hurricane, a center of clarity from which you can observe, assess, and act with precision. How do you cultivate this anchored calm? 1. Seize your breath, seize control. The first domino to fall in chaos is your physiology. Your body screams danger, triggering shallow, rapid breaths and muscular tension. This is your point of intervention. Consciously take control with deliberate, diaphragmatic breathing. Inhale slowly for a count of 4, hold for 4, exhale for 6. This is not cliché advice. It is neurobiological intervention. It signals your primal brain that you are not in immediate physical peril, downshifting your nervous system from panic to presence. Your breath is the lever that pries space between the stimulus and your response. 2. Impose deliberate pace. Chaos breeds hurried, jerky movement, a physical manifestation of frantic thinking. Counter it by consciously slowing your physical pace. Move with intention. Sit down if you are pacing. Put down the object you're fidgeting with. Slow your gestures. By disciplining your body's tempo, you directly influence your mind's tempo. Your deliberate pace broadcasts a powerful message. The situation does not control my rhythm. I am steady. 3. Modulate your voice. Noise fuels chaos. A raised, tense voice adds to the cacophony. Practice lowering your volume and slowing your speech. Speak as if you are trying to be heard through glass, with calm clarity. A calm voice in a chaotic room is a magnet. It doesn't compete with the noise, it dissipates it. Even if your words are simply, "Let's pause and assess the tone in which you deliver them," can reset an entire group's emotional baseline. 4. Ask the anchoring question. When overwhelmed, replace the panicked, "What do I do?" with a structured, grounding question. What is the very next smallest step I can take with the information I have right now? This forces your brain out of catastrophic overwhelm and into tactical problem solving. It shifts you from reacting to the entire storm to navigating the next gust of wind. 5. Normalize the storm. Mentally reframe chaos as data, not disaster. It is simply reality presenting itself in a more intense, unfiltered form. The stakes may be high, but the fundamental task remains the same: to assess, decide, and act. This perspective removes the apocalyptic narrative and allows you to engage with the situation's substance, not just its emotional charge. Standing calm in chaos is not about denying the seriousness of a situation. It is about refusing to let the situation's intensity dictate your internal state. It is the practice of keeping your center of gravity firmly within you, even when external forces pull violently in every direction. When you master this, a transformation occurs. People begin to see you as a pillar, reliable, trustworthy, and leadership-worthy, regardless of your title. But more importantly, you see yourself differently. Every time you remain grounded amidst the mess, you collect irrefutable evidence of your own resilience. You learn that storms do not break you. They reveal the strength you have been building all along. So when chaos inevitably arrives, and it will, remember, your power lies not in joining the frenzy, but in embodying the calm. Pause, breathe, slow your tempo, steady your voice. Decide in that moment that you will not be another casualty of the storm. You will be the calm within it. And that calm is the most dangerous form of confidence there is. The kind that cannot be shaken, because it has been tested and proven in the fire. Chapter 14. Train until skill becomes certainty. Confidence is not an ethereal quality, bestowed by chance or summoned by wishful thinking. It is not merely a mindset adopted or a mantra repeated. Authentic, enduring confidence, the dangerous kind, is engineered. It is built upon a tangible, unassailable foundation: competence. When you have dedicated yourself to the work, when you have rehearsed, refined, and repeated a skill until it lives in your muscles and marrow, a fundamental shift occurs. You cease hoping you are capable and begin knowing you are. This migration from doubt to certainty is the genesis of true power. It is confidence that cannot be argued with, because it is written in the language of demonstrable skill. Recall anything you have ever truly mastered. Whether it was a physical craft, a technical ability, or a social skill, the pattern is universal. Initial encounters were marked by hesitation, awkwardness, and self-consciousness. But through consistent practice, the mechanics smoothed. The conscious effort faded, replaced by fluid intuition. What was once terrifying became simply what you do. This is the alchemy of training. Repetition transmutes anxiety into autonomy. Most people desire the flower of confidence without planting the seed of effort. They seek the feeling of certainty before they have accumulated the proof. But the equation does not balance that way. You do not wait for confidence to act. You act with discipline and repetition until your actions generate the confidence as a byproduct. Skill, forged in the fire of practice, forges belief in return. Every deliberate session, every focused repetition, every time you persevere through frustration, you are not just building a skill, you are carving the evidence of your own capability into your nervous system. This evidence becomes your unwavering inner ledger. However, not all practice is created equal. Passive, half-hearted repetition builds little. True confidence is born from deliberate practice, the intentional, often uncomfortable work of stretching beyond your current edge. It is in the focused hour of study when distraction beckons, the extra repetition when fatigued, the candid solicitation of feedback when it's easier to assume you're good enough. When you know in your bones that you have trained harder and deeper than the situation demands, you enter any arena with a quiet, unshakable advantage. There is no need for bluster or posturing. The certainty is communicated in your economy of movement, your focused gaze, your reserved energy. Consider the elite performer, the musician, the athlete, the surgeon. They do not step into the crucial moment questioning their fundamentals. They have conditioned their response through thousands of hours of structured, often grueling rehearsal. The skill is so deeply encoded that pressure reveals their training. It does not cripple it. Their mind is free to strategize and create because their competence is on autopilot. This is the gift of mastery, certainty that is impervious to circumstance. Now, apply this principle beyond traditional skills to the core competencies of a powerful life. The skill of communication, training to listen actively, articulate with clarity, and navigate conflict with poise. The skill of emotional regulation, practicing the pause, managing your physiology, and returning to center amidst provocation. The skill of leadership, deliberately exercising decision-making, accountability, and the empowerment of others. The skill of execution, building the discipline to move from planning to consistent, focused action. Imagine honing these human skills with the same intentionality as a craftsman honing a tool. The resulting quiet power is palpable and needs no announcement. So, how do you engineer this certainty? 1. Identify and isolate. Pinpoint the specific competency where doubt undermines you. Is it vocal presence, strategic thinking, setting boundaries? Define it with surgical precision. Confidence is built skill by skill. 2. Design deliberate practice. Move beyond vague improvement. Create structured, repeatable drills. If it's communication, practice your key messages daily. If it's calm under pressure, simulate stress in controlled environments to practice your breathing and centering techniques. Seek measurable feedback. Each session must have a target and a reflection. 3. Reframe the discomfort. The burning feeling of strain, the awkwardness of new patterns, the sting of correction. These are not signs of failure. They are the direct sensory feedback of growth. Lean into them. The point of practice is not to do what is easy, but to make what is difficult achievable. 4. Measure your tracks. Maintain a ledger of your progress. Note the milestones. The first time you handled an objection smoothly, the moment you remained unruffled by criticism, the project you completed to a new standard of excellence. Concrete evidence of your own growth is the most powerful confidence builder there is. 5. Embrace the aggregation of marginal gains. Understand that mastery is not a single explosive event, but the patient accumulation of 10,000 tiny improvements. Trust the compounding returns of daily, focused effort. The profound beauty of this path is that your confidence becomes asset-based. It is rooted in something no one can revoke, critique, or bestow. Your own earned competence. External validation becomes secondary. The primary source is your private knowledge of your own preparation. Dangerous confidence, therefore, is not a performance of fearlessness. It is the calm assurance that comes from having done the work others cannot see. It is the transition from the questioning "can I?" to the declarative "I am prepared." So commit to the forge, train with intention, strain against your limits. Do not seek confidence as a feeling to capture, but as a certainty to earn. Because when skill becomes second nature, confidence becomes your nature. And that is a foundation from which you cannot be toppled. Chapter 15. Live as if you need nothing. The ultimate expression of confidence is not found in what you acquire, but in what you realize you never needed. It is the state of living as if you need nothing, not from a place of lack or ascetic denial, but from a profound, unwavering sense of inner completion. This does not mean you do not enjoy success, connection, or acclaim. It means you are not dependent on them. When your worth, your peace, and your identity are no longer currencies traded on the open market of external validation, you step into a freedom so potent it renders you untouchable. Most people operate from a silent deficit. They need approval to feel secure, attention to feel significant, and achievements to feel worthy. This need is a hidden puppeteer pulling their strings. It drives the desperate chase for validation, for status, for constant proof of belonging. And in that chase, power is surrendered. The very act of needing something outside yourself makes you vulnerable to whoever appears to hold it. But imagine a different operating system. Imagine pursuing goals not because you need them to fill a void, but because they are a natural expression of your already full capacity. Imagine enjoying relationships not as lifelines, but as conscious collaborations between whole individuals. Imagine receiving praise with gratitude, yet feeling no alteration to your core temperature. This is living from abundance, not hunger. It is the difference between chasing love, respect, or success and choosing to engage with them from a place of already having enough. This is not detachment from life. It is sovereignty within it. You are not walling yourself off from the world's offerings. You are building an inner citadel so strong that you can walk into the marketplace of life, with all its temptations, rewards, and rejections, and engage freely, knowing nothing for sale is required for your survival. You carry your own validation, your own peace, your own power supply. This makes you dangerous in the most respectable sense. You cannot be manipulated by promise, intimidated by threat, or diminished by disregard. Consider the leverage neediness provides. Need approval, and you can be swayed by flattery or silenced by criticism. Need a particular outcome, and you can be rushed into poor decisions or paralyzed by fear of loss. Need constant reassurance, and you will settle for connections that drain you. But when you move through the world as if you already possess everything you need within, you operate from a position of unassailable strength. Your interactions become clean, your decisions become clear, your yes is genuine, and your no is final, because neither is fueled by desperation. How do you cultivate this state of conscious wholeness? 1. Right arrow answer. I do as a non-negotiable fact. Oh, who provides my sense of security? Right arrow answer. I do. Through my competence and self-trust. The more you become the provider of what you once sought, the less you will crave it from others. Shift your focus from scarcity to sufficiency through daily gratitude. This is not a passive feel-good exercise, it is an active rewiring. Acknowledge not just material comforts, but the abundance of inner resources you already possess. Resilience learned from past failures, clarity gained from setbacks, strength forged in difficulty. This practice starves the mentality of lack. 3. Internalize impermanence. Hold all external things lightly. Understand that status shifts, finances fluctuate, relationships evolve, and applause fades. These are chapters, not your identity. By making your core self independent of these temporary conditions, you become immune to the fear of their loss. Your foundation is built on the bedrock of your character, not the shifting sand of circumstance. 4. Give from overflow, not depletion. When you act from a sense of inner abundance, your giving changes. You help, contribute, and love not to purchase esteem or secure loyalty, but because it is an expression of your surplus. This kind of giving is pure, powerful, and attracts reciprocal respect without demand. Living as if you need nothing does not make you cold. It makes you calmly magnetic. People are instinctively drawn to those who are complete. Neediness repels, wholeness attracts. The person who does not cling radiates an aura of abundance that others want to be near. This is the pinnacle of dangerous confidence. It is the quiet understanding that you were born complete. You may acquire skills, experiences, and connections, but you are not acquiring worth. You are uncovering and expressing it. When you live from this place, you walk through the world with a calm that others mistake for ease, and a certainty they perceive as strength. You are free. You act from choice, not chase. You engage from curiosity, not hunger. Live as if you need nothing, because when you do, you will discover the astonishing truth. You already have everything required to be powerful, peaceful, and profoundly free. This is not the end of a journey, but the beginning of a truly autonomous life. Conclusion. The quiet revolution. Confidence is not about shouting louder than the rest of the world. It's not about forcing people to notice you, chasing approval, or performing a version of yourself you think will be accepted. Confidence is calm. It is steady. It is the deep, resonant presence of someone who no longer needs to prove their worth because they are anchored in the quiet, unassailable knowledge of it. The most dangerous form of confidence, the kind this guide has mapped for you, is not a personality trait. It is a practice of sovereignty. It is built on a foundational truth. You are the author of your own response, and therefore the architect of your own power. When you master your reactions, you reclaim your freedom. Nothing and no one can control you without your consent. Over these chapters, we have laid the stones for this unshakable foundation. You learn to stop explaining, understanding that your choices are valid simply because you chose them. You began to master your inner voice, turning your mind from a critic into your most loyal ally. You committed to building respect from the inside out, recognizing that confidence is the echo of self-respect. You worked to kill the need for approval, liberating yourself from the exhausting pursuit of external validation. You discovered the strength in responding with silence, where power is conserved and composure speaks volumes. You let your body speak first, aligning your physiology with your psychology to broadcast certainty before a word is said. You made the critical shift from reacting to leading, deciding to set the tone rather than echo the chaos. You learned to embrace discomfort, seeing it as the necessary friction for growth and the forge of resilience. You practiced the art of speaking less to command more, understanding that influence is a product of weight, not volume. You transformed rejection into fuel, letting every no strengthen your resolve and clarify your path. You mastered the freedom of detaching from outcomes, investing in your effort while releasing your grip on the result. You learned to set boundaries without apology, protecting your energy as the sacred resource it is. You cultivated the ability to stand calm in chaos, becoming the eye of the storm where clarity resides. You committed to training until skill became certainty, building confidence on the bedrock of real competence. And finally, you glimpsed the ultimate freedom, living as if you need nothing, finding complete sufficiency within so you can engage with the world from a place of choice, not lack. This journey is not about achieving a state of flawless perfection. It is about conscious progression. It is the daily, deliberate work of building yourself into someone who no longer bends to every shifting opinion, who does not crumble under pressure, and who no longer waits for an invitation to step into their own power. True confidence is quiet, but it is undeniable. It does not need to announce itself, because it is communicated in the steadiness of your gaze, the purpose in your step, and the composed silence you maintain when others are scrambling to be heard. It is the deep-rooted tree that does not tremble in the wind. So, take these principles and embody them. Let them move from concepts in your mind to reflexes in your life. Apply them in the boardroom and the living room, in moments of opportunity and moments of conflict. Test them when life attempts to shake you and feel the strength of your new foundation. Remember, this is not about becoming someone else. It is about returning to the strongest, most authentic version of yourself, the one that was there before the world whispered its doubts. It is about stripping away the noise to reveal your own steady signal. Because when you learn to react from a place of centered choice, rather than frantic impulse, you gain authority over your entire experience. You become in the truest sense untouchable. You become steady in a world of noise. You become a person others cannot ignore. Not because you demand their attention, but because your inherent presence quietly commands it. That is the power of dangerous confidence. It is not a weapon you wield against others. It is the armor you wear for yourself, forged in self-knowledge, tempered by discipline, and polished with self-respect. It is already within you. The work is not over. It has just begun. Now go out and live from it. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with others who might find it helpful. Your support means everything and helps this channel grow and reach more people. And if you'd like to go even further in supporting the channel, consider joining as a member to get exclusive content and behind-the-scenes insights. Stay curious, stay powerful, and I'll see you in the next one.